Hi everyone, my presentation today will focus on the redesign of my FRIGHTFUL site, the Yale School of Art. If you're familiar with the site, I think you'll agree that any designer taking this project on would have their work cut out for them. I'll begin by telling you a bit about myself. My name is Christina Zufferli and I'm proud to live in Sudbury, Ontario. The city has become the hub of Northern Ontario in recent years, expanding and diversifying both culturally and economically. I've worked as the marketing manager for a group of companies, including a plastic surgery practice and medical spa, for the past 10 years. My role is focused on the development of new divisions and companies, ranging from a weight loss program to a stem cell therapy treatment center. With each new division comes a task of creating new logos, marketing materials, and of course, new websites. I studied at Laurentian University in Sudbury for many years, obtaining bachelor's degrees in psychology and English rhetoric before returning a few years later to complete my Master of Business Administration. I've completed courses on search engine optimization as well as conversion rate optimization, and I'm currently focusing on achieving my web design certification through McMaster University. In terms of my aspirations career-wise, my friend and I have recently launched a small company called Sozu Marketing. Her background in graphic design and photography complements my own skill set. We strive to provide our clients with affordable, custom options in order to achieve their small business dreams. Our goal is to provide them with the necessary platform to showcase what they can provide to their customers. By defining their brand, igniting their imagination, and fueling customer conversation, we help their business flourish. Being a socially responsible graphic designer is important in properly representing the industry. I strive to uphold my own set of values with every project I undertake. In terms of the profession, I will not knowingly condone or permit the violation of any federal, provincial, or municipal law. I will not disclose confidential information to any third party unless compelled by law to do so. In terms of my clients, I will not work simultaneously on client projects that create a conflict of interest without the knowledge of both clients involved. I will fully disclose all fees associated with a project prior to providing a contractual agreement to all clients. In terms of society and environmental consciousness, I will take a responsible role in the protection of my community and environment and the way it is portrayed. I will not take on any client project that infringes on the rights of another person or group. And lastly, in terms of intellectual property and authorship, I will not copy the work of another person without explicit consent of the owner, nor will I knowingly infringe on any copyright law of Canada. How would you define a FRIGHTFUL site? Two of the biggest issues I found with the current Yale School of Art website was one, their single menu, which seems to be laid out without any rhyme or reason. At a first glance, you may believe it's alphabetical, but that theory didn't hold up for long. It makes it very difficult for a site user to properly navigate the website. And two, and likely the biggest design flaw, the site operates as a wiki site, meaning multiple users have the ability to log in and change not only the site's content, but the design elements as well. On any given day, a user can return to the same page they've bookmarked and be looking at entirely different information. The lack of consistency is confusing to any website user. As you can see from the home page of the site, there's nothing particularly captivating design-wise. Had this project not been assigned and I had landed on this website after performing a Google search, I would assume I'd somehow landed on an amateur site that's not actually affiliated with Yale University. As you can see from the comparison of the homepage of the old site versus the redesigned site, the images are more dynamic, the colors are inviting, and we've added multiple menus, including a footer, in order to assist the user in navigating the web page. One of the main objectives of any university website is to entice potential students to apply for admission. As you can see from the admissions page of the current Yale University School of Art website, the amateur feel of the website has continued, and an excessive amount of content without any clear direction is provided. One of my SMART goals with the redesign was to substantially increase the number of students who register for an open house event. The idea being that an open house event fosters the possibility that the attendee will then choose to pursue an education at the facility they visit. My task analysis created 3 separate paths with my site redesign in order to achieve this goal. The first option was to select prospective students from the top menu. As you can see, the prospective students portion of the site prominently displays open house as a selection for further information and ultimately registration for the event. The second option had the user select Events Calendar from the left menu on the home page, where an Events Calendar page clearly outlined each month and the featured event. Once the user selects the month of interest, for open house it's October, they can then go on to receive more details and register for the event. And lastly, our third option was to have the user select Visit Us from the footer of the home page. The user is then brought to a page with the option of selecting Open House and ultimately the registration form for the event. In order to determine if my site redesign will assist in achieving the project SMART goals, I conducted usability testing with 3 subjects, all tasked with registering for the open house event through the 3 paths depicted in my previous slides. User 1, age 45, defines herself as an avid internet user, including social media sites. She estimates she spends approximately 10 to 15 hours a week on the internet, with the vast majority of that being spent browsing. User 2, age 53, defines herself as someone who utilizes the internet for both browsing and email. She estimates she spends 7 to 12 hours online each week, with well over 50% of that time being spent online shopping. User 3, age 65, defines herself as someone who uses the internet mainly for news updates and email. She estimates she spends approximately 4 to 5 hours on the internet each week, with 90% of that being spent on news sites. As you can see from our results, on average, User 1 took 3 minutes to complete each task. User 2 took 4 minutes to complete each task, and User 3 took 6 minutes to complete each task. Based on the observations made during the study, we are confident in proceeding with the final design phases of the website. All of the users felt comfortable navigating the website and were able to complete their tasks in a short period of time. The increased length and time taken by User 3 can be attributed to the fact that during the portion of the task where the online registration form must be filled out, User 3 was less sure of her typing skills, pausing often to recheck the information she had entered. An analysis of the current site revealed several other issues. In terms of readability, the site received a readability rating of E, on a scale from A to E, with E-rated text being very difficult to read. With regards to mobile friendliness, the site was not mobile friendly. The text was too small to read, the site design was not responsive, and the clickable elements were too close together. The website also had a very low contrast between text and background, with 5 contrast errors on just the home page. Did we address these issues with our redesign? Utilizing the same tools we used to conduct our original analysis, it was determined that our redesigned site increased its readability rating all the way to A's and B's on various pages. We've created a responsive design for our mobile site so that the text and all its elements are clear and, very importantly, clickable. We've also ensured that there are no longer any contrast errors on the pages. As we enter the final phase of the redesign, my focus will be on building the remaining content pages, as well as slightly adjusting the open house registration form in order to reduce the amount of information required to be entered by the website user. Should the Yale School of Art wish to continue to operate the site as a wiki webpage, it would be recommended that they provide a style guide to every student with access, as well as limit the design elements that can be changed, namely the background image. This will help maintain the cohesive nature of the redesigned site. And finally, We will retest its usability using the same task analysis that we previously conducted. Thank you all for listening to my presentation today. I do hope you've gained some insight into just how frightful my site truly was.